your voice?
Whatever you say, Louise. She's so hot.
So, you guys must be pretty worried about Zach and Louise.
Whatever do you mean?
Well, Zach's a big man around here. Pretty soon all the cool guys in school will be dating nerd girls. Wait, that means there won't be any left for you dorks. Heavens, I failed to view it from that perspective.
How dare you steal our women?
We've got to tell our fellow brains to vote for Screech. Quick, to the nerd cave.
Welcome to another episode of the Kobe Bryant Film Room. So looking back, right, I'm starting to realize how much of an asshole Slater was, right? That's some pretty awful shit to tell somebody. But I want to react and make this video as a part 2 of my series to the nerds, right? Here's my message to the nerds, right? When you're bringing up accolades, right, it's important to understand that accolades are awards, right? And sometimes the best players or the best people at certain positions do not receive awards for what they do. Case in point, right? Scottie Pippen, no defensive player of the year, right? But you can look at his all-NBA, his all defensive first team selections and know he was a hellacious defender. Plus, when you look back at film, you start to see his value to the Chicago Bulls defensively, right? But this is the reason why all NBA defensive teams mean more to me than defensive player of the year, right? Even though defensive player of the year is it's an award and you have to be playing hellacious defense. But that does not mean a defensive player of the year player is better than another player, right? So Marcus Smart is not a greater defender. He's not a better perimeter defender than Scottie Pippen. No one will say this but nerds, right? Tim Duncan, 0 defensive player of the year awards, right? But we can agree that Tim Duncan was behind some of the greatest defensive teams in this era, right? So now I want to talk to you guys about how many years in college versus somebody coming from high school, right? So somebody coming from high school is not going to put up the same numbers as somebody straight out of college, especially back in the 80s and 90s. Right? It just doesn't fucking happen. And it's stupid to sit there and read off a stat sheet full of numbers for players who are under different conditions coming in. Right? So the age of the rookie matters, right? When they come in. If a rookie is 24 years old, 23, 24 years old, or 20, 21 years old, you're not going to judge him the same as you judge an 18-year-old kid. That is dumb shit. Right? So I want to go through something, right? Kobe Bryant. I'll give you an example of nerds taking over the game of basketball. Kobe Bryant had the record for threes in a game with alongside Donyell Marshall for, I believe, 12 threes in a game, right? But when you look back now, they say Kobe Bryant was inefficient, right? And this is the bullshit that I'm talking about, right? This is nerd basketball. These are nerd basketball takes, right? So awards given to people by the media don't hold as much weight to me as awards given by the coaches or the players, right? Let's talk about longevity stats, right? Longevity versus ability, right? So what you might ask, what do I mean by that? I mean, a player like Magic Johnson, right, is widely considered to be the greatest passer of all time. But the numbers, the longevity numbers say John Stockton surpassed him, right? But people who watched basketball understand that Magic Johnson is a greater passer than John Stockton, right? As far as passing ability, those numbers do not make John Stockton a greater passer, right? This is key, right? Because when we see people break records, right? Different eras, different conditions, different circumstances. If you look at Magic played 13 years in the league, y'all. 13 years in the NBA compared to John Stockton, right? John Stockton played 19 years in the NBA. Big difference. That's an extra 6 years, you guys, of passing, right? So we have to take these things into consideration when we're judging players. We have to make sense out of basketball using our brains along with the numbers. Yes, it does mean John Stockton's one of the greatest players, passers of all time. It does. Those accurates do mean that, right? It does mean that. Just like I brought that up because of the longevity scoring record of LeBron James, along with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It does mean they're one of the greatest scorers of all time, hitting that record. But it doesn't mean they're the greatest scorer of all time, hitting that record. So all of these things matter, right? And these are my responses to the nerds. And I'm going to ask the nerds to do me a favor. Go back. Watch the games, y'all. Watch the games. Watch John Stockton pass. Then go watch Magic Johnson pass. Right? John Stockton was an incredible passer, by the way. I'm not trying to knock John Stockton. But Magic was a level above him, right? If you go back and watch Kobe. Go back and watch LeBron. LeBron was a very consistent scorer. But Kobe was better than him during the times that they played, right? During the time he played, he was a better scorer, right? And the way you determine this is you go back and you watch the games, right? The era changed. The defenses changed. Less physical defense. The whole way the game of basketball changed. It's damn near unrecognizable because of the way teams played. Back in the day, you played inside out. Now you play from outside in, right? So it's a whole different ball game when judging these players. And I think that people need to take these things into consideration when they're going across eras to compare players, right? Now, if you're comparing players in the same era, then I would understand, right? The standards match up. They play under the same conditions, under the same terms, right? So that would make a difference. But when we're crossing eras, 10 years, 7 years or so, 20 years, we're going 30 years back, you can't compare the numbers. Or if you do compare the numbers, you have to adjust for what was taking place at that time versus what was taking place in the modern time. You have to adjust and use common sense, y'all. So this is going to put an end to the Kobe Bryant film room, Saved by the Bell edition, right? The nerd edition.